So we're going to set up right now for a panel discussion. And I want to invite up our participants here. Kenny's CEO of Cherrypicks. Vincent Lau, Regional Head of International Payments for HSBC. Kevin Leung, founder of Liquid. Louis Ma, Director of IT for Maxim's Group. And Gus Lee, founder of Parameta. Thank you, gentlemen, and welcome to the panel today. We're going to talk a little bit about BSN Spartan use cases. Let me first ask each of you to do a quick introduction of your organization. So, Louis, let me start with you.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Louis, from Maxim Group. I'm Group IT Director. Maxim, I guess, most of you know what we are doing, and then catering company in Hong Kong and also in China and South Asia. Currently, we have about 1,800 something stock across in China, Hong Kong, South Asia. I think there are some of the operation, the brand I will highlight maybe Starbucks. Okay, we have 5 markets in Hong Kong, Macau, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Cambodia, and also we open a new market by November in Laos, and also in we are distributing on that one. And yeah, we are now also transforming from the digitalization. It's not only for the F&B and the catering, also go for e-commerce. We are digitalization for the membership. We have quite a lot of different membership. I'm talking about 1 million of the member already. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Louis. Kevin?
Hello, it is Kevin, founder of Liquid. Actually, we are connecting the real-world data to the on-chain, providing a complete digital dynamic identity. It can streamline the KYC process, due diligence, and enhance the brand monitoring of the credit customers. And we are currently working with not only the permission, the blockchain, but also apply in the Spartan as a use case. Thank you.
Okay. Vincent?
Hi, this is Vincent Lau from HSBC. My day job, I manage my international payment businesses for Asia Pacific in HSBC. And I started my sort of part-time job dealing with DLT, digital currencies, and various digital assets, I think since about 2 years ago. And this part-time job has slowly become my sort of real job today. And that's why I'm here today. I'm really happy to be working with the BSN network to look at how, as a bank, we can provide our banking services across a DLT network at the speed of a DLT network, as well as with the trust and the ease of dealing with a DLT network. So happy to be here.
Kenny?
Hi, I'm Kenny, and my company is Cherrypicks, which is one of the largest mobile application developer in Hong Kong. I'm sure inside your phone should have our ProudWorks. One of them, the Prime project with HSBC for PayMe, and also we serve a lot of the government projects, including the electronic health records patient portal, and a few others. Larger enterprise applications. Yeah.
Gus?
Hi there, I'm Gus, founder of Parameta. We are arts and cultural institution IP creators. So essentially, we focus on the arts and cultural establishments, and we've worked with the top tier museums as well as galleries and international artists. So what we do is we create IP that is relevant digitally for the metaverse, but also physically as digital twins. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. So let's talk a little bit more about the use case that you're working on right now. And maybe, Vincent, I'll start with you. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the specific use case or use cases you're working on and why you're working with BSN.
Yep. I think Richard just now also gave a great overview of what HSBC's vision on how we implement DLT, what DLT means for the bank. More specifically to Hong Kong as a market, HSBC is our home. We had actually thought about building something very similar to a BSN Spartan network ourselves. But soon, when we look at trying to be the sort of the ecosystem for everyone, it doesn't really make sense because we are not the expert in all these different use cases. We are just a party that connect people up with the financial transactions. But beyond the financial transaction or before the financial transactions, there are a lot of business processes that our friends maybe from Fuji would be automating, from different partners, or as Scott mentioned, trying to issue digital or digitize assets. There are a lot of upstream process that needs different techniques and expertise and a common infrastructure for them to build on. So we decided we probably would be better off by being also specialized service providers on the network or on the ecosystem instead of being the ecosystem ourselves. And henceforth, I think the BSN Spartan network represent a genuine attempt to bring all this diverse business in Hong Kong, in particular at the start, together that can leverage or unlock the real value of having a DLT network to bring trust, transparencies, and data management onto one platform. And that actually also make our job a lot easier because we don't need to build bespoke solutions for each of these customers that we are serving, but rather we will provide our banking service on the BSN network, so you can connect to the BSN network, be a participant, and have access to the HSBC account services, payment, receivables, collections, and other or trade finance or any other financial transactions that you may be accessing today off-chain as well. So that's our vision, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Kenny, maybe you could talk a little bit more about your use case and why you chose to work with BSN.
Yeah, we're trying to work on the use case on putting academic credentials. In that actual fact, it's not just academic credentials, other skills credentials would be included on the BSN network, so that we have a profile for different users where to have their academics and skills credentials be validated by the proper authorities, so that when they go cross-border to different countries to work and studies, they have a trusted credentials to refer to. So that is because we one of our investors, NetDragon's been invest heavily in e-learning, and obviously they aggregated a lot of the learning courses online. So we have to create a platform to ensure these credentials being able to use. And obviously there's a lot of use case by especially the universities where they have a hard time to validate the authenticity of different academic credentials and skills. So that platform is envisioned to help them. The reason why we would like to try it on BSN Spartan is that it's essentially the crypto components been taken out. So it's more enterprise applications focused, and obviously the gas fee and then transaction fees is one of the major consideration we have, because we envision there's a large traffic of transactions incurred in that applications. Yeah.
Thank you. So Louis, I'm going to tell a quick story here. The meeting that we had with you and your team a couple months ago when we introduced the BSN Spartan was one of the more interesting meetings I've had in the past year, because we sat and presented to you for 20 or 30 minutes, and then you looked at us and immediately rattled off 3 or 4 very detailed use cases that you already had in your head. Can you talk a little bit more about what you're doing and your ideas for the future?
Yes, okay. About a few minutes ago, I meet you again, your team in SS. Okay, within an hour, we already come up with a lot of the different idea on that one. I think in the first one, okay, from the idea of the BSN, okay, provide visibility for the citizen in the Hong Kong living. Okay, Maxim Group we can provide was the visibility. I think it's everybody have to dialing lunch. We have the queuing system. But regarding the queuing system with the customer, okay, whether you today go to Times Square, you should go for IFC, and then, okay, which of the brand, okay, different casino, okay, waiting for 10 queue, or maybe for only one, or no need to wait. Then if we provide the visibility on that one, I think it's a provide convenience with the other customer, okay, they can go where I should go, and then shorten the waiting time, okay, enjoy the light. That's okay, very quick one. I can see, okay, our technology is already ready, and then we can, okay, say looking for the partner, and then, okay, teams there, and then, okay, we can provide the integration to you. Then how you, okay, let the people know, okay, where I should go, and then go to west or go to the south, and that's, I think, a good idea on that one. Second one is actually our company is already determining for the blockchain. I think a lot of the benefit, I don't need to repeat again, but you can imagine our business in terms of the operation, okay, how many in terms of inventory, replenishment, available in terms of the stock, ability to deal with our supplier. And then at the moment, actually, we have to be about, I recall it's about 5 years ago, we already invest a lot of the, okay, in terms of the ERP, provide the stock availability in terms of real time. This is very needed for the blockchain. That's why last time when I talked to the team, okay, I had a lot of ideas. This is because our companies are impacted by the COVID. And then we hold the project for 2 years. 3 years ago, we talked to different other partners, okay, whether we can have a blockchain solution for our management. I guess, okay, tell a lot about the transaction performance, huge in terms of the account payment, receivable, a lot of that. It's a traditional retail. It's a store manager pays the order to the supplier, and then create the PO delivery, and then we had the receiving, and then the invoice matching, and then we got a lot of the fixed stuff were there. That's why I said, why not? And then we go for that one, and then I'm looking for go for smart contract. If Maxim can provide the stock by every single night, the balance of the stock, then we can have you can kind of deal with the partner for the min-maxed smart contract, all well determined. That's why, okay, I provide the visibility in terms of the stock balance. I can, okay, what's the order? Based on the pre-agreed then we can go. Then you can imagine how big of the company in terms of retail operation on that one. That's why, okay, we're looking for the solution. And then there's a really amazing, I would say, okay, looking for the future for the BSN, okay, for the blockchain solution. Also, I introduced the potential partner to them and then see whether we can make it work. Because for the Maxim, we are only the part of the payer. I need the partner, supplier, platform. Those are required. But Maxim, I would say, now we are ready to go, but looking for the partner.
Good. And there are more use cases in his head, I assure you.
Yes, true.
Yeah. So, Kevin, you're sitting with some big corporates here, some big enterprises. Maybe talk a little bit more about what you're doing. You're more in the startup space.
Yeah.
Explain what you do and what you're doing with us.
Yes. Actually, I'm come from HSBC. Working for HSBC about 5 years ago in commercial banking. And we understand that if you open an account in a bank or ask for a credit support from bank, it really takes a long time. The reason why is all about authentications. When you submit a large document to the bank, they do not know whether it is real. Just for example, I submit a purchase order from Maxim from the bank. How the bank can verify the authentications of the purchase order? So I believe it's nothing better to understand a company from their daily operations. Every transaction is just like a purchase order or a payment or receivable or even a payroll. It is the daily transactions. But it can represent the identity of a company. But how we can use this data from different sources of origins. So actually we built a permissioned blockchain network with Oracle connect to the real world data. And when we asking for a banking support or bank account opening, we no longer need to submit a large document to the bank. We just need one single consent. And the bank get this consent, they can get the source of origins authenticated data from the source of origins. So they no need to concern about if the document is real, if the data is authenticated. That's why we are promoting this corporate digital identity. And what's more, this identity is not a fixed identity. If I do a transaction, if I get more purchase order from Maxim, it will be a new identity. So this identity will be a dynamic identity. And it is also one of the key value that Spartan can provide to us. Because when we form this identity, we need to pay the gas fee. So it is really, really costly. We form the identity every day, every transaction. So with the structure of long crypto blockchain network, we can control the cost, to be honest. And also, we can provide a more dynamic service to the bank, such that all the transaction data, all the information in the dynamic NFT will representing the real-time identity of the company. And bank can much more easy to monitor their customers. Just for example, last December of last year and this January, the fifth wave of COVID-19 make a big impact to Hong Kong economy. So if the bank just conduct any review to check the customer, it's really way behind the latest status. So what we can do is a real-time monitoring. Not only a one-off identity, we can provide ongoing monitoring about the customers. So the bank can take immediate actions. If the economy in the upside, we can increase the credit limit. If there is a downside, they can take immediate action accordingly. That's the value what we are doing to the bank. And definitely we are a startup, so we are be more flexible to listen to the market. And we are keep integrating with different systems from the real world that can enrich the data in the identity. That's what we are doing.
Great. Gus, so I would say you're more of the digital art space, what people think of traditionally around NFTs, but what you're doing is a bit different than what others are doing here in the market. Can you explain more about what Parameta does and your efforts?
Absolutely. And I think when we talk about digital art, we're really talking about something that is very niche and very small and appeals to a very small amount of people. What we're interested here, especially with working with BSN, is about speaking to the 90%. Because I think what we've mentioned before earlier in this session is that websites essentially right now are two-dimensional websites and you interact with text. Of course, that's evolving as we go, but as the technology evolves further, we're looking at three-dimensional sites. We're talking about immersion. And so what we do is we create cultural content three-dimensionally. Now, most people right now, when they're understanding of what does it mean by arts and culture NFTs, they think about what has been done already, like the Mona Lisa, and how you transition that into a virtual environment. Now, what we do is different. What we do is we create IP, meaning we don't take existing IP, but what we do is take the existing infrastructure of those who create that, such as institutions, NGOs, and enterprises, and together with international designers, actually create this. So it's not about creating an NFT. In fact, very, very rarely an NFT is a solution. In fact, it's just a medium. And so what we actually do then is, what we're launching at BSN is a project called Augmentry. So to augment is to enhance. And so what we do with what we create here is we take international designers, and I'm talking about world-class designers, who go through a rigid method to achieve what they achieve. I come from an architect's background, and I created architecture through code, and I led a global international company through that. And so what we do is we create everything through code. So nothing is analog. A lot of the NFTs you see are essentially analog representations on IPFS or P2P. But what we do is we create things from the beginning. So we take the DNA of different organizations. We take the DNA of different designers. And then using the same rigid methodology, we create an IP at an early stage. Because one thing that is never captured in NFTs, when you look at tokens, you see the end result. But actually, one of the powers of Web3 and blockchain technology, and in this case with BSN, is the ability to actually capture the process. Now, you can't capture the process if it costs $20 to $400 to capture that, right? Who wants to do that? You wouldn't do it. So, but being able to do this at cents means that we can actually focus on what we create, not just the final result. So you think about one of the strengths of Web3 is its community. But with community comes a lot of what we call FOMO. And so you get a lot of people jumping onto the bandwagon, and you get a lot of people like putting good money into this to drive up this because you don't want to miss out. But essentially, when you take the kind of amateur artist away, and what you actually focus on is a budding artist, a budding designer, someone who has the talent and the ability to do it, but without the infrastructure. What we do is we work with them, as well as the corporations and enterprises, in order to create an IP that is owned and co-owned by the different parties. Now, the power of this, using something like BSN, allows us to be able to create and allow people to play their passion. And that's kind of where our strengths are, is that we don't, a lot of the art that's been created that is through FOMO and through hype, you know that the focus is not on the art or the end result. The focus is on the opportunities that come with that. When you take away that hype, when it's fiat, when it's NTT, it's one-to-one. When it's non-tradable, people start focusing on the product. They're not focusing on making fast money. So one of the reasons we work with BSN is because both Parameta and Augmentry and all the portfolio companies we have the same vision as BSN and Yufan's team, is this idea of long-term value versus short-term gain.
Kenny, as a solutions provider to both government and enterprise, you've obviously spent a lot of your time looking at new technologies, evaluating new technologies. So you've probably been looking at blockchain technology and related for a while. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how you evaluate when is the right time to start working in a specific technology.
We've been, well, the history of leveraging blockchain to work with government and other enterprise clients trace back to 2018, when the government started to use hybrid ledger fabrics to create their own private chains, and we helped them to build the POC. And obviously, still a few years back then, a lot of the enterprises were just looking at blockchains as a potential technology they can use, and they haven't thought of real meaningful cases that would put the major workflows onto that chain. But in recency, I think this 1 or 2 years, because something actually somehow the hype of NFT helps the enterprise to make faster decision on it, but also because of the ecosystem is here. I think to a lot of the enterprises and government, the major consideration is that they from their traditional business, they have to see the ecosystem where their partners, their suppliers and end users have the literacy to use that technologies and then willing to participate in it. And I think this trend is evolving now, and a lot of them is being more open to use blockchain to build on their applications. But the problem is that a lot of the chain right now, because of the costing and the user friendliness, and there's still a lot of hurdles existing. So we have a high hope on our POC on the BSN, where we can create a relatively low cost and efficient applications that can be used by the enterprises. Yeah.
So what would, if you think out into the future, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you heard us talk earlier today about technical committees and continuing to refine blockchain technology. As a solution provider, what would you like to see in 2 or 3 years that's different? How do you see things evolving to help support your business better?
There are 2 specific domains we would especially interested in, and we have high passions to make it work, apart from the academics and e-learning that I just mentioned. One of them is healthcare. As we mentioned, we involve in the development of the electronic health record patient portal, and as just Genetics already share, if you're doing anonymous tests on the and put it on the chain, there's a lot of the patient privacy protections being able to use in that application. So I think and electronic health record patient records, there's a lot of IP controversy, I would say, and blockchain application actually helps to solve that, because a lot of the information are decentralized and reside in the medical professionals and some of them with the patients, so that when we call a records from different places for a medical treatment, and it can be adequately solve the issues we're facing right now. So I would see, we would love to see that the healthcare industry has been leveraging the blockchains more extensively in the next 2 or 3 years, and obviously it's beginning. And also the other domain that we are very interested in doing is to create well, actually that's been discussed and trying to build for some time, is to leverage the blockchain for loyalty management. But the loyalty management right now is still on an enterprise point of view perspective. So you build even on the enterprise blockchain-based loyalty is still for that enterprise. But eventually, we envision the loyalty would reside with the users, where I have the behavior of going to, for example, Starbucks and patronizing LKF, and then I would like to have my behavior. I don't mind to share a little bit of that to HSBC to earn for the extra credits that the Visa card may have. That kind of multi-vendor ecosystem, we're in the hands of the customer, is something we're looking at, and we're working with some of our marketing partners in different parts of the world right now. Thank you.
Well, Jonathan Zeman in the audience here may have some views on that when he comes and speaks later. Vincent, so Richard, your colleague Richard earlier on talked about, you're a big bank, you're evaluating new technology, you need to make sure you're following regulation and ensuring trust with customers. Tell us a little bit more about your evaluation of emerging technologies like blockchain and how you've come to the place you're at. And Kenny talked about how he almost said there's a tipping point right now where, because of your new activities, that they're seeing greater adoption. How are you looking at that from an HSBC perspective?
Yeah, definitely. We have been observing the technology and also the business models that is enabled by more of a Web3 construct for quite some time, for years actually. So I do agree we are very close to this tipping point where a lot of our customers, both on the retail, personal side, as well as from a business side, that they are now seeing themselves as the owner of the data and also the activity that they're performing. In the past, we are so used to having a platform, having like a banks, performing everything for you, telling you what to do, where to go to. But now our customers are now telling us what they want, how they want it, when they want it, where they want it. But the challenge for us is that, as I mentioned earlier, it is quite difficult for anyone or even large banks or large institutions to customize their products for each and every one of their customers. What we actually see from blockchain is the ability to really customize without actually doing the customization yourself. You are connecting to your business partners, you're connecting to different layers of service providers that provide this standardized construct, either from a data, business process, or even as a store of value perspective that you can plug and play your service into. So HSBC on the BSN Spartan network can be both a service provider providing our payment solutions, our banking services, as well as a consumer to consume the services that Liquid would provide on the company KYC or the company data, or live company data, or from a different perspective from medical services, or even like Prenetics mentioned, a choice of what the user or the customer themselves want to share with you. We are not the government, but we are still not going to be able to get the trust to get everyone to share everything with us. Maybe in the past you would, because you want to get a mortgage, you want to get a loan, you just expose everything yourself. But more and more we are seeing that privacy and ownership of data is getting so important that our customers are no longer willing to be unconditionally exposing everything. But the blockchain or BSN Spartan network construct provide us with an avenue to do this selectively, and also to have both an off-chain and on-chain portion of the data that you can control to share with whatever business partner for the specific business process that you are going to undertake. Or as Toko mentioned, how do you do a digital asset creation under the regulation, but not exposing everything that you are doing to the regulators. So these are some of the key things that as a bank we are seeing that is changing fundamentally how we are going to do business with our business partner as well as we are going to service our customers.
Louis, so as director of IT for Maxim's group, I imagine a big part of your job is evaluating new technologies and deciding when's the right time. So a similar question to you. If you think ahead 2, 3, 4 years, what would you ask, BSN Spartan or the BSN Foundation to change, or what direction would you guide them to move in?
From my personal experience, I think it's back to the 50 years ago. The technology all make the people surprised, like auto pay. How can you deduct the money from my account directly, okay, without informing me, okay, based on the invoice? Okay, it's the belief of the people to trust. And okay, when they, after now, I think nowadays, okay, most of people make use of the auto pay. We worry about the integrity, credibility. Okay, we can have more time, okay, from other rest of the time, again, no need to queuing in the bank. That's why the technology adopt in the organization. I would say, okay, you believe it, see it, or you see it, you believe it. I think a lot of the people talking about this one, the timing is subject to the change, to transformation. I think we can very easy to code more than 50 keywords. Change, transformation, digitalization. Okay, a lot of the work we can have. Blockchain is one of the key. Okay, keyword in the organization. It's about the company how we improve your organization. I would say lucky because my management is quite believe in the blockchain, and then okay, through the communication about what is that, I try to use the case study and the story, and tell them what can be happen, and then proven the technology in terms of the trust, and also you can see it, okay. But in terms of next 2 to 3 years, somehow in terms of the COVID, of course, it's good for human, not good for the human anyone, okay, but good for the technology driven. Because a lot of the people trust technology. Smartphone can do anything. QR code can do a lot of the things, okay. Without a smartphone, I think, okay, nothing we can, living nowadays. You cannot go to anywhere. This is something for the mindset is already implemented, injected people, so technology can help us. Just the matter is what, how, when. Why? But I think those is we can find the answer a lot in that one. As a retail, Maxim is very standard. We are not the fintech, we are not the insurance company, we are not the high technology rocket science. Just only trading. I buy something, I sell something, I provide the service something, invoicing. This is a traditional years already. Automation always is all the enterprise, the boss or the finance director would like to cost saving. I think this is a lot of the business case we can kind of the ROI or is the KPI. What you get in terms of return, okay, get success on that one. And somehow we're lucky because, okay, from the technology point of view, is because of the COVID impact, a lot of people living and beyond the technology. We have to, okay, you cannot go out, you have to rely on the technology for the online ordering, delivery, and all that one. That's why in terms of trust, in terms of highly engaged with our management team. But there still is a very difficult, I would say, good solution must be applicable. There's been application, okay, must be applicable. Otherwise, okay, it's not a solution. We're not a solution. Nowadays, we're talking total solution or total experience, okay? That's why as a CIO, and then I talk to the management, okay, it's out the AOP budget, and then, okay, what's to be happen. And then I think this is spend a lot of time for the communication. Tell what to be happen. And then POC, I think quite a lot of people talking POC, okay, show me, then, okay, I trust you. I think this is the journey on that one, okay? That's why we are careful on that one. But regarding the timing, it's hard to tell, to be honest, okay? But we still have our own roadmap, what we want to do. But adjust or maybe priorities, okay, we prioritized regarding about the situation and so on. But we still believe it there because even though we are ready, but because as I said, we are the retail operator. We rely on the partner, technology, and the counterpart like the supplier, are they ready or not? Because even though I am available for the stock, I can provide the supplier, hey, here's my balance of the stock. Can you refill my stock? But also need to be, okay, they are ready as well. That is okay, of course, I'm trying to achieve something, okay, in terms of the blockchain implementation in about, okay, 2 years, okay, recently we are doing the budget and, okay, prepare for the future and their implementation on that one. But regarding about, okay, what can be achieved, I would say inventory is one of our key factor because, okay, as you know, the cost, about the transportation, stock availability, shipment timeline, forecast and planning. This is my own personally. Okay, I achieve in the maximum to improve on that one. Second is the work process. Mentioned about related to finance, related to the bank. Okay, in terms of the payment, how the efficiency. Okay, to use on another solution like the RPA. It's also another automation, okay, which provide the visibility, speed, and also handling for the huge and transaction. I would say definitely we will go for this way, but subject to matter 2 to 3 years, okay, really on the subject to the individual organization, their readiness or not, and also the environmental. I'm looking for, okay, for technology can be, okay, to help the business, okay, can make the business better because now the structuring in the F&B. Yeah.
Good. Kevin, from a startup perspective, what would you like to see in 2 or 3 years' time? And what can BSN do with the technology to help better support companies of your size trying to do what you're doing?
Personally, I think, especially for startup, this year, it is a really good year to develop on that because of 2 key reasons. First is about COVID-19 really push up the digitalizations of the commercial world. And secondly, it's about consumption voucher. It's made a lot of retailer, especially retailer, to digitalize their receivable. So if everything's still on paper, it is hard for us to put the data on chain, definitely because there are no data. And by these 2 key reasons, I believe the digitalization trend will be much faster in the coming 2 years. And at this moment, we do have a statistic, and for B2B environment, it's about 56% transactions already can digitalize. So our forecast is maybe about 3 years later, it will be more than 80%. If the trend is keep going, our application, our coverage is much better. And our use case will cover much more scenario. Just for example, because I think most of us order delivery by Foodpanda or Deliveroo. This industry, F&B industry, is hard to get financing from bank because they're heavily engaged with cash. They have low data. But now, we do have Foodpanda and Deliveroo, also have open rights. And secondly, most of them do have a POS system already. And they accept WeChat, Alipay, PayMe as acceptance because of consuming voucher. We can forecast their top line by this different source of data. Then with the top line, we can provide them a financing solution from the bank. It is really an innovative financing solution to F&B industry. Never happened in Hong Kong. It is really new. And on the other hand, another scenario for constructions. We all know that there is a contractor, subcontractor, subcontractor. And we can make it with a blockchain to link them all up. And we can support not only the contractor, but also the subcontractor and the subcontractor also can support. That's what we are doing with some developer as well. So I believe maybe 3 years or 5 years later, not 100%, maybe 80 to 90%, that really can make a digitalization business environment that really can help not only business to finance FI, but also B2B, business to business. Because what we are doing is business to FI. But our direction is not only business to FI, but also business to business. When we are doing a business with a new partner, we have indulged who they are, what they are doing. It is not only for local, but also for global, one belt, one road as well. We have indulged about our partner in other countries. But this digital identity with a really significant digitalization data can support us to understand our partner. That will be the future, a trustless world for business.
Very good, thank you. I want to thank all of you for joining the panel today and talking about your use cases. I think there's a very diverse set of things that you're working on, and certainly a big range of sizes of your business. So great, thank you very much. Thank you for being a part of our ecosystem and our event today. And we look forward to continuing to work with you on your use cases. Thank you.
Thank you all.